Hello, folks. This is Thoughts from the Mentally Ill, and I'm here to discuss the whole Milo Yiannopoulos debacle with him and his pedophilia comments, and what the repercussions of that will be, at least from personal perspective and a follower of his, and discuss kind of the pros and cons of Milo and the end conclusion I come to. So let's start with the basics. Why is Milo so popular? Well, Milo is a wonderful provocateur, in the sense of that he really does know how to goat the extreme leftists. Uh, he knows how to goat them into saying and doing stupid things, and Berkeley is pretty much the perfect example of that. It's there's got to be some sort of irony involved where they were part of the free speech movement back in the '60s, but fast forward to a few weeks ago, and they're rioting because someone was speaking on matters and they disagreed with his opinion. So, like he was the perfect spokesperson for the anti-PC crowd, the anti-SJW crowd, the anti-regressive crowd, more of the common sense crowd. Um, all the things that the far left progressives tout as being morally superior. He was able to call them out on the stupidity of it all. And I will admit that he did it in subobtuse ways from time to time, but he got the point across effectively, and that's why people loved him. Now, the most controversy he got before last 24 hours or so is that the whole Leslie Nielsen, your name is, him first giving her a bad movie review and mocking her a little bit, and then a bunch of people decided to do the same thing, which you cannot control others' actions unless he was directly calling for people to mock her and to attack her racially and attack her gender and to promote hate speech against her. You cannot get control your fan base. They're going to do stupid stuff. Trollers are going to look for an opportunity to troll. So I kind of have to defend him a little bit in that him getting banned from Twitter because a bunch of what a bunch of other people said was a bit ridiculous. Also, there was a few things he retweeted that were untrue about her, which does justify him at least getting a suspension from Twitter. But anyways, that was one of the biggest controversies he's had. Also, they try to constantly call him a fascist, a neo-Nazi, an alt-right, because apparently alt-right is the new evil saying. Um, as if they're trying to label anyone with a monochrome of common sense who's younger a part of the alt-right, and therefore you're a white nationalist, you're a racist, even though there are plenty of people of different races and genders and creeds that harbor the same thoughts and feelings. But yeah, they tried calling him a fascist while physically uh, physically harming anyone and oppressing anyone who uh, agreed with Milo. Uh, the audacity of the left sometimes just amazes me. You cannot call someone a fascist while holding the power, while oppressing someone else, while taking away their freedom of speech, while taking away their right. Can't do that. Anyways, so let's fast forward to today in the big outrage. So he was going to speak. Um, he was supposed to speak at the CPAC 2017, but that was rescinded because of some comments he made about the support of pedophilia. And at first I tried listening it out and trying to see it from where he was coming from, see if there was a context issue, and I in the end I found I just can't stand behind what he said. So let's get to the crux of the issue here.
I wonder. If Milo is okay with
It's this
adults
guy.
getting their
accept, but we get hung up on this kind of on this, this sort of child abuse stuff. And to the point where we're heavily policing even relationships between consenting adults, sort of grad students and professors at
See, and I want to interject right here. Yes, I see. At this point, I still agree with Milo. If it's consenting adults and there's nothing ethically wrong, why can't a student date a grad professor? They're both consenting adults. Th I mean, the only argument that could be made is if the student's still in the class, that is in the class of the professor that he or she is dating. Um, that can create a conflict of interest, and that is somewhat questionable. But there's nothing legally objectionable to it. Um, if any worker can date their boss or marry their boss, and it be fine, then why is that morally questionable? Is what I bring to the table. So I agree, but the whole conversation goes downhill from there.
universities
Well,
in a way that
actually,
never
Milo,
happened
I,
before.
I have a video on consent if you want to watch that.
Well, let's.
See, yeah, I get. See, I like the drunken peasants for the most part. They're a little too socialist for my taste, and they do get a little douchey. That was a douchey moment from them. But continuing.
You know what?
Address
I
a
think
little
I'm
more of
fine.
this.
I think I'm okay.
I was
Well,
after I lost
certainly
my
is.
virginity. I was
How
in my
old were you?
teens. I was in my teens.
14.
I was in my teens.
You said you were 14.
Something like that.
So Milo's there. He's with Joe Rogan. He's talking about him being in a relationship at 14 with a man. Now I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to a more important part. Try to get past some of the stupidity that the drunken peasants does, the joking around and all that, and get back to the crux of the discussion.
Hold on. Hold on.
Can we put some aviators on him? Can we put some aviators and a hooker in his hand? Can we see what he looks like?
Someone can do that.
That people try and paint it. Are there some
No, it is-
13-year-olds out there capable of giving informed consent to have sex with an adult? Probably. But I was also a 13-year-old. I hung around with 13-year-old guys, when I was 13, and there were some of them that still thought girls were fucking icky at 13. Like, not many, but like they were just coming out of that phase. I don't know that I was ready at 13 to get fucked in the ass by a 28-year-old black drag queen, is what I'm saying. So
Well,
you can't.
that's
The reason these age of consent laws exist is because we have to set some kind of a barometer here. We've got to pick
I
an age
completely
and go,
understand.
okay, look, this is the age where we can reasonably be assured you're an adult, you can give informed consent, you understand the risks and
course.
pregnancy
Of
risks
course.
and
And I
all
think
that
and I
bullshit.
think the law is probably about right. That's probably roughly the right age. I think it's probably about okay. But there are certainly people who are capable of giving consent at a younger age. I certainly consider myself to be one of them. People who are sexually active younger. I think it particularly happens in the gay world, by the way. And
Okay, he says that it happens in the gay world. There's no evidence of that. Being gay doesn't make you any more able to consent to sex at a younger age. A, B. You having sex organs that are functional does not make you of the right sound mind when it comes to sex. Those laws are in place to protect children from adults, from specifically adults taking advantage of them. They're impressionable. They're moldable, um, and and adults know that they can inflict their will upon these children that are too meek and too pliable to really object initially. So that's exactly what it is. It doesn't matter that they have sexual organs that work or that they're sexually active. Fine, if they're sexually active and they're making bad decisions at 13, fine. But maybe with another 13-year-old, it shouldn't be a 28-year-old egging, egging a 13-year-old on. The 20-year-old, the 28-year-old knows better. So I disagree with him there completely. Like there's no gray area to it. It is there to protect children, no matter their position, no matter how mature you think you were at that age, or how mature they think that they were at that age. It is a hard line you cannot cross. Now there are certain things in the, like Romeo laws and stuff like that. Those make sense, but we're not talking about um, an 18 or a 19-year-old being with a 17-year-old. Okay, we're talking a 28-year-old with 13-year-old, 28-year-old with 14-year-old. Let's continue.
In many cases, actually, those relationships with older men. This is one of the. This is why one of the reasons I hate the left. They have this sort of stupid, one size fits all policing of culture. This sort of this arbitrary,
Milo.
this arbitrary.
Let him talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This arbitrary. I'll be quick. This arbitrary and oppressive idea of consent, which totally destroys, the understanding that many of us have of the complexities and subtleties and complicated nature of many relationships. People are messy and complex, and actually, in a homosexual world, particularly, some of those relationships between younger boys and older men, the sort of coming of age relationships, the relationships in which those older men help those young boys to discover who they are and give them security and safety and provide them with love and a reliable and sort of.
No. See, he's painting this off to be some noble endeavor, when really what has happened here is that an older man in this case has taken advantage of a younger boy. There's nothing noble. There is no protection. No, society puts these laws in place to protect children from adults that are trying to take advantage. There's no knighthood about this. There's nothing beautiful about this. And I will admit that there is a bit of a double standard, because a lot of guys turn around and say, "Man, where was that hot teacher when I was, 16?" We have that mentality. But the thing is, though, is that deep down inside we know it's wrong, right? Like we might crack those jokes, but in all seriousness, pedophilia is wrong. There's no way around it. I think an argument can be made for 16 a little bit, but not really. I mean, I personally think 18 is a pretty good number. But I know many cultures, UK, plenty of states, the United States, consider 16 the age of consent. But once again, and once again, I see their position on why 16 is okay-ish. I still prefer 18, because I mean, if I think once you reach the age that you can hold a gun and defend your country, I think you're old enough to drink, and I think you're old enough to have a consenting relationship. But if you can't do any of the above, you are deemed not old enough to consent and be truly responsible for your actions. And then you see the conflict with jail time. Okay, so if you're not old enough and smart enough to consent for that, then why are 16-year-olds going away for life in prison and stuff? So once again, I see the argument for 16, but we're not talking 16. That's not what Milo's doing. We're not talking 16, 17, 18. We're talking 13, 14. And that's way below. I mean, these are kids still going through the beginning of puberty. And you're talking about them as if they're adults, and somehow able to truly consent and understand the gravity of their actions. They're a pile of hormones. And if they've had a crappy parenting life, now they're a pile of hormones seeking male approval. And you're acting like this is some truly noble consenting relationship between this older man and this younger boy. No, sorry, I cannot do it. Like there's no way around it.
A rock where they can't speak to their parents. Some of those relationships are
It
some
sounds like
of the most.
molestation to me. It sounds
Yeah, well,
like
you know what?
it
You know
sounds
what?
like
I'm
Catholic
grateful
priest
for-
molestation to me.
And you know what? I'm grateful for Father Michael. I wouldn't give nearly such good head if it wasn't for him.
Oh my
Look, the
god!
point is,
Oh
that
my god!
Okay, so that we're not. You can see by the look in his face or pause. You can see that that was a provocateur comment. But once again, pedophilia is not one of those things you can really do go provocateur, full blown provocateur. There's dark humor involved here. I get it. Both try to do it. Milo took it a step further. But as we can see here, this is he's trying. He is genuinely trying to justify pedophilia, and that's just insane. But we'll finish this up here real quick.
Can't handle
It's
it.
funny because
What is wrong with you, Ben? Come
gave
on.
me some homework on you, Milo. He gave me a few videos to watch to brush up on my Miloisms. And one of the things that you said in one of these clips was that transgenderism is the new, frontier of rights. My wording is bad here, but it's the new frontier of social progress, and the next thing in line is going to be pedophilia. And yet here you are talking about how, look, some of these kids that get diddled by these priests, I mean, it's a good thing for them. They're getting this love, and now they are also getting a kick.
You're misunderstanding what pedophilia means. Pedophilia is not a sexual attraction to somebody 13 years old who is sexually mature. Pedophilia is
Okay,
attraction to children.
ephebophilia.
Pedophilia is not a sexual attraction to somebody 13 years old who is sexually mature. No, sorry, that's still pedophilia. No ifs, no ands, no buts. It doesn't matter if they are sexually mature. It doesn't matter that they have functioning sexual organs that can reproduce. That doesn't make it somehow not pedophilia. It is about protecting children. Is a 13-year-old considered a child in the eyes of society and by the eyes of the state? Yes. There you go. No ifs, no ands, no buts. That's it. It is clear cut. And what's worse is that once again, sexually mature. Who gets to decide? That's an arbitrary concept. It's subjective, even of what truly makes someone sexually mature. All you can say is that they have functioning sexual organs. You cannot say you cannot truly grasp what is going on in their head and what level of maturity they have to understand the gravity of their actions. So this is just wow. But okay.
Children to children who have not reached puberty. Pedophilia is attraction to people who don't have functioning sex organs yet, who have not gone through puberty, who are too young to be able to
And
understand the way
Coulter.
their bodies. That is not what we're talking about.
And Coulter.
Look at his face. There's no satire here. You can tell the seriousness. So I'm gonna end it there. You get his position, and here's since we're almost 20 minutes in this, I'll shorten this up right now. All the things that Milo had said before this, well, not all of them, but the majority of them, it still holds validity. Harming people and trying to the left justifying harming people because they consider them fascists, with just because they think they're fascists. Half of them don't know the definition of fascist is. Them trying to shut down free speech and harm people who have wrong think, is a good thing to speak out from. Milo did that very well. Talking about the injustices in the Muslim communities and behind the Muslim religion, where where Sharia law is held to a higher regard, and killing of gays and the oppression of women is somehow okay to the left, but Christianity is somehow worse. Even though practicing Christians in the United States use words where and even outside the United States use words where the majority of hear of the honor killings, you hear of the gay killings, you hear um, of women being stoned to death, being raped. So speaking out against the double standard and the hypocrisy of the left is a good thing. Speaking out against the BS agenda of feminism, modern third wave feminism, uh, that was all noble and justified, and he did it adequately by gaining attention by saying provocative things. But I'm sorry, Milo. Even this crazy asshole here is going to turn around and tell you you screwed the pooch. I cannot condone what you had said in any way, shape, or form. I still believe in your right to say it. I still believe your right to say anything you want, as long as it's not actually harming anyone, as long as you're not trying to bring, violent action against anyone with your words. I believe, even though I adamantly disagree with what you're saying, that you have the right to say it. But this is where I walk away and say, sorry, Marlon, I'm no longer standing beside you. I cannot condone what you're doing. But I will say this: thank God we still got Joe Rogan. Thank God we still have Ben Shapiro, because then there's still got to be someone out there who can truly be the voice of reason, who can bridge the gap, not be too left, not be too right, to bridge the gap so everyone can find their way back to reality. Because that's the problem with society. Everyone's so far in themselves they don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. So there you go. That's my position on Milo, and that's it. I may agree with many of the positions he had, but the while I agree with the positions, I can't agree with the man anymore. If that is what he has as a position with children, I'm done. That's it. No ifs, no ands, no buts. I'll support Ben. I will support Joe Rogan. I will support the new voice that comes up, whoever he or she may be. Um, but this has been Thoughts from the Mentally Ill, and I hope you have a wonderful